Welcome to another episode of Madly Moved with Maddie. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Corrine. She is a great influencer and she likes to talk about freedom from her sobriety. Without further ado, here she is to tell her story.
Hello. Hi, I'm Corrine. My username is at TrueCore Recovery, and I've been sober for 7.5 years. And I started my page a little over a year ago. I think it was last November, of 2024. Why did I start the page? Well, I think part of it was like a coping mechanism, just adding another tool to my toolbox. I've been going to AA since the beginning of my recovery, which is in May of 2018. And I think I just was looking for something different to add to the mix of things that I do to stay sober. I had been on Instagram a little bit here and there over the previous years. And once I started making my page about sobriety, I felt like it opened up a new chapter, I guess, to my life. And I've had a great time on there since then. But my story, so where to begin? As I mentioned, I've been sober since May of 2018, May 1st to be exact. And I guess my story begins back in, let's say, high school, really. I grew up on Long Island. I was an A+ student. I was always pretty focused on my grades, and alcohol never really appealed to me that much. Like, I would see parents of, other kids getting drunk, and my dad wasn't a big drinker. My mom was actually an alcoholic, but she was sober most of my life. So my parents, my mom didn't drink, my dad rarely drank. So I didn't really see at home too much negative experiences with, drinking. But like I'd see again, like other people getting drunk, and it just didn't really seem that appealing. And then I think I had my first taste of alcohol. I was young. I think I was like 11 or 12. Someone stole a beer from their parents. I took a sip and I was like, this is disgusting. Like, why would anybody, like, this doesn't taste good, right? Like, it just didn't taste good. So I really didn't think anything of it, for a little while longer. Fast forward to high school. Like I said, I was very focused on my grades. I did a lot of extracurricular activities. Like I did theater, various sports. I was on the swim team. I played the piano for a little while. I took voice lessons. Like I really had a wide variety of activities that I got involved in, both at the school and outside of the high school. And I felt pretty like content with what I was doing. And then at some point, I think it was like sophomore year or junior year, I think sophomore year. I was at a party with some friends and there were wine coolers and I tried one and I was like, oh, this tastes pretty good. Like it was a strawberry daiquiri type of thing. And it didn't have a lot of alcohol, relatively speaking, in it. But I remember I was like, okay, now I could see if you're having this sweet sort of drink, why, other people might be drinking this. So at that point in time, I was still afraid, I guess is the word, to get drunk. I would have a wine cooler here and there, at friends' parties, but I would see, again, people drinking too much, and it just didn't seem like an appealing thing to do. Like you drink and drink and drink until you throw up or you can't remember what you're doing. And so I guess essentially that fear kind of kept my drinking at bay for a period of time. Fast forward to the end of senior year of high school, and I went to Miami on spring break with my friends, and that was the first time I can remember that fear was essentially gone, where somehow on that trip, it was like taking shots and getting more drunk was fun. I didn't really have any consequences. I think I had a hangover, but it wasn't that bad at that point in time. And I guess that's when the drinking for me started to progress. I went to college. I had an AOL Messenger account. I don't know if anybody remembers that. This is back in 2004.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was party
That's
girl.
so funny.
Party
It
girl
goes all the
X
way back to
151.
AOL for you.
151
Wow.
like the
That's
rum,
awesome.
you
I
know,
love
one
that.
of the yeah, so 151 like the rum because that's one of the highest proofs, at least that I remember at that time, that you could get. And I wanted everybody to know I'm party girl. I'm here to party. I'm here to drink. Like that became kind of like my personality, where I was still doing pretty well in school. I even got an academic scholarship um, for that took care of my bachelor's and master's degree. And so I kept studying, but I felt like I worked so hard in high school. I got to college, I got the scholarship, and now I can let loose and have fun, right? And also, I went to an all girls high school. All of a sudden, there were boys there. There's no parents, just like all this freedom. Like it's time to let loose, right? Plus, I saw other people drinking and partying a lot, so it's like, well, they're doing it, and of course, now I want to be cool and do it too. Um, so all through high school, oh, sorry, all through college, I feel like there were some consequences. I did end up getting in trouble for a fake ID. I think it was my sophomore year of college, and that was really the first time, other than like a hangover, where I saw a negative consequence to what I was doing. Um, but up until that point in time, it was just like this fun.
Sorry about that. I guess I'm having some technical difficulties.
Oh,
Um,
I was like, what happened?
no, it's I don't know what's going on today with my
Was that
recording
her?
devices. They want to give me trouble. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Has that happened before?
Uh, No, but I'm using a different system and setup today. I was trying to use
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was trying to use my laptop, but it's all good because whatever we got that right now is already uploaded from that point to when we started, and now we're gonna start again from this angle because I have to use my phone um, because the laptop is still buffering. I literally like hit the automatic like the red emergency stop button for laptops, and it still didn't
Oh,
work. So
okay.
I'm just
Yeah, that's
waiting.
also that's why I didn't want to use my laptop because my phone I feel like is more consistent. That exact reason where I feel like my phone is more consistent.
Yeah.
Um, than for whatever reason. Do you hear that hissing? I'm just gonna quickly, if it's okay, close the
No.
bathroom door.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good. I'm. I can't believe
Okay, there we go. I didn't even realize I kept it open.
you're good.
So the,
There we
the
go.
bath, there we go. Yes, that's better. Okay. That's exactly why I didn't want to go. Delivering. Okay, before I get started again, at what point did we leave?
You were talking about your college, um, or when you were going to the Florida in high school for spring break, and that's when you really felt like you could really start drinking without the limitations and feeling like you couldn't like you didn't have to limit yourself, like you were okay. You could just keep
Yeah.
taking shots. Um, yeah.
Okay. I remember I went to I said I went to college and I had Party Girl. I think
Oh, the
that
AOL, the AOL. And then the funny part was the AOL. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I think I'm trying to remember because there was a point where I saw the little swirly thing on the thing. I was like, I'm just going to keep talking in case this is
The,
recording.
the swirly thing of death, of terror.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Okay. So I think I was saying this is recording now.
Yeah, now we're good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think I was saying that I made Party Girl X 151 my username because I wanted everybody to know like that's what I was about. That's what I was here for. And in college, I was saying that I had gotten scholarships to college
Mm-hmm.
for my bachelor's and my master's degree. And so I kept studying as I had been in high school because I needed a certain GPA to maintain my scholarships. But I had felt like I had worked so hard in high school that I was basically allowed to party hard because that's what I was supposed to do, at 19, 18, 20 years old, right? Like you work hard, you play hard. That was my mentality of I had spent so long getting into college. Here I was. There were boys there because I went to an all girls high school. So that was new and exciting. There are no parents and, no parental supervision. And so why not? And I think for a lot of my college time, there weren't really any consequences. I mean, like I had hangovers, of course, but I think it was either sophomore year or junior year, I got in trouble for having a fake ID. And my dad's friend, who's a lawyer, had to come and go to court with me to get the charges dropped. And I think one or two other times I got a citation. I went to school in Pennsylvania and they gave out citations for underage drinking. And so those were really the major consequences, which didn't feel so big at that time. Like I was a little afraid because these were like legal matters, but I just felt like it wasn't enough to get me to stop. I still saw myself as I'm young, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I carried on throughout all of high school and my master's year. I did, 4 years undergraduate and then 1 year of grad school at Scranton. And after my master's year, I had to do some internships in order to complete my degree, and I ended up moving to Colorado. And that point in time, that was in 2009, that's when I kind of was like wanting to take a step back and really dial down my partying. Um, I didn't stop drinking completely, but I probably went from drinking, 3 nights a week at the height of my drinking, or maybe 4 nights a week partying in college, to maybe now every other week, maybe once a week, every other week, something like that. So I was still drinking to the point of a lot of the times, but not always, blacking out. But it just, I don't know, like my desire to be out in Colorado and live a healthier lifestyle, it still wasn't enough to get me to stop. I think that was maybe a pivotal time where I recognized that partying that much the way I was in college wasn't sustainable for me. Um, but I wasn't ready to stop. And I think that point I was about 24 years old. And at that same time, around the time that I had moved to Colorado, I had met somebody while I was traveling, and he lived out west. And we started dating long distance, and eventually he moved to Colorado to be with me. But I remember my mom, she told me the whole time we were together, she's like, he's an alcoholic. Like, he has a problem. And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you know? I kind of like brushed it aside. And I did see in hindsight, some of what she was talking about, but I was just so,
In love.
I don't know. I thought I knew better, I guess.
As we
I
do.
just, yeah, right. I wasn't ready to see it, or I guess things hadn't been bad enough. I don't know, up at that, until that point. But anyway, eventually I came back to New York in, was it the August of 2011, and he ended up moving to New York to be with me. And that was in October, I think, of 2012. And that's when I feel like things kind of took a really dark turn. So the whole time that I was with him outside of, after getting my master's degree and out of college, we had been drinking together, like on the weekends. It was like a weekend type of thing. And at some point in time, at the end of 2012 or beginning of 2013, he started drinking pretty much every day. Um, I think like he had lost his job, a family member had passed away, and he was really leaning into the alcohol to cope. And I was still kind of trying to stick with 2 nights a week socially drinking, even though when I was social, I was drinking to the point of blacking out. But I was still trying to maintain what felt like to me some sort of order, if you will. Okay, I'm only drinking 2 nights a week, so it's not that bad. And he's drinking every day. And um, I don't know at what point in time exactly in 2013, but at some point in time, while his drinking was progressing, he became physically violent towards me. And my way of coping with the violence was turning to alcohol. So as things progressed with his alcoholism, he became more violent. And I know there was a few times that I tried to leave the relationship and it was unsuccessful. We were living together, and I just was in way over my head. I had no idea how. I didn't know how to leave. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know what to do. And I just became a daily drinker. Like I went from drinking 2 nights a week to then it became 3 nights to 4 nights to 5 nights to six to then every day I would go to work. And the second I would walk through the door, I would grab a bottle of wine and sit in the kitchen by myself and drink until I blacked out, like every day.
You're awake.
For every day for at least a year, because I'm kind of fuzzy on some parts, like exactly when it started.
Yeah.
I know when it stopped, but I think, yeah, every day for at least a year, where I would drink multiple bottles of wine and or shots of vodka. Sometimes it might have been like, I don't even know how many, but just sit there and take tons of shots of vodka. Sometimes I'd mix that with the wine. I would do both, but those are really my big drinks of choice, the vodka and the wine.
So you said
And
you would take the bottle and you would go in the kitchen at work. Were you a waitress at work?
no, so after I got home from work, sorry.
Okay. I thought you were drinking at work. I,
All right.
I was just I was trying to make sure I was on the same page as you.
No, it's okay. No, after I got home from work, like I would go to work, come home, take the bottle of wine, and just sit in the kitchen alone. Like I wasn't out partying. I had seen myself as this party girl up until this point in time, and now it became this isolating event of like I was living to drink and I was drinking to live. And that became what my world was about. Go to work, come home, get the wine, sit in the kitchen, and drink for hours on end until I would eventually black out and fall asleep. Um, and then repeat over and over and over and over again. Um, and yeah, so that was, I would say that started around July or so of 2013. And then finally, fast forward to about a year later, I think it was around October or November of 2014. I just remember saying to people, like, things need to change. Like, I can't continue on this way. I can't stay in this relationship. I can't keep drinking like this. Like, something has to change, and it needs to change by Christmas. And I just remember saying that, and I thought that, like, Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. I was just so focused on Christmas, and I was like, where is this coming from, this Christmas idea? But that's what was in my mind. And so I started to successfully on my own scale back from drinking every day. Meanwhile, my partner at the time, he was still drinking every day, but his drinking even progressed from, like a nighttime thing to now it was around the clock, like all day, every day, from when he was waking up to when he was going to bed at night. And I remember it was kind of scary to watch. And ultimately, what ended up happening is on Christmas Day, he had a seizure due to alcohol withdrawal. We were at my parents' house on Long Island, sitting around the Christmas tree, and all of a sudden he fell into the Christmas tree due to a seizure, and he went to the hospital. And it was like kind of spooky, where I was like, I needed some sign by Christmas, and there it was, right in front of me. I was like, that's gonna be me if I don't get it together.
You're like
Like
psychic
that
or something.
is gonna end up. Sorry, what'd you say?
You're like a little bit psychic. Like you saw that was
Yeah.
gonna happen, and it did happen. You're very
Yeah, it was kind of spooky, but it was like, whoa, like it gave me goosebumps, or it was like it jolted me awake. Like I was like, okay, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, I'm open, or I was more open to hearing what other people had to say. Mostly at the time was my mom, who was now telling me I was an alcoholic, and I don't know if I was quite at that place where I was willing to admit that to myself, but that was definitely the beginning of the end for me, for sure. So shortly after Christmas of that year, I broke up with him. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this with you. I can't do this with alcohol. I'm done. I'm done with all of it. So going into January of 2015, I, on my own, did 90 days sober. I don't know where I got that from. I just got,
so
that's what came to my mind.
so you
And
you didn't go to detox or anything. You raw dogged it on your own.
yes, I raw dogged it on my own. Yeah.
God,
I
that,
raw dogged it. Yeah, I don't know. I got like this burst of energy or something, or inspiration or fear or all of the above, whatever happened. I just felt like with so much conviction, this is what I need to do. And it wasn't easy towards the end. I remember like day 70 something, I was out to dinner with a friend and I ordered a glass of wine and I didn't drink it. And I was like, you have it. I said to her, I said, you have the wine. I can't, I want to stick this out. I want to make it to the 90 days. And so that's what happened. She had the wine. I didn't. I got the 90 days. And then after that, I still wasn't completely done. Like, I don't know at what point things changed again. Like I for the next year or two, I would have a few drinks here and there, like very minimal. Um, I still wasn't quite accepting that I was an alcoholic or shouldn't have alcohol like I just needed to be completely done. Like I was aware that like of where I was and how bad it had gotten, but I was still thinking like, oh yeah, well if it's a special occasion, it's fine because that's what people do. Like that was in my thinking, where it's like, well, it's if this person and that person, they have their lives together, like look at how successful they are and they can have a glass of wine, why can't I? That was very much in my thinking. And I think it was in 2017, I started a new job and I was invited out for happy hour and I went and I had a few drinks. And then it was like, I saw these thoughts in myself. I was like, this is so amazing. Why am I not doing this more? And it was like something was like activated by drinking. Like, I don't know how many, again, it was only a few drinks, but it was just something of like that desire was just like reignited. And so I didn't ever get back to where I had been, previously with every night and blacking out, but it did become a thing again where that's what I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to drinking at night. Like that's why I was living. I was going to work so I could come home, and even if it was one or two glasses of wine, like that was like what was driving me. And it was kind of scary. And I observed that within myself. I was like, this feels oddly familiar. There was no, um, like it wasn't like in the past where I was using it to cope with the physical abuse,
Mhm.
but I'm sure, there were other things underlying there, that I was using to cover it up, like using it as a band-aid or whatever. But I don't know, at some point in 2018, I think it was April of 2018 when I had my last drink, I felt inside of myself like, okay, maybe it's just time to stop this. Like maybe it's just time. I don't know why. It wasn't anything earth-shattering. I think I had a hangover one day and I called out sick from work and I was like, I don't want to live my life like this. Like I don't want to live my life where I come home from work, I have one or two glasses of wine, and now I can't get up and show up for myself because I feel so ill. And that was the point where I was like, I think I need some help. I called Intergroup, in New York City through, yeah, I called Intergroup and they referred me to a women's meeting in Williamsburg, for AA. And I went and I had a good experience. And I was like, okay, maybe I belong here. And I was like, I think I should stick with this for now. And that was it. Um, since then, I think I'm not as involved in AA as I was in the beginning, but I'm okay with that. I still do go to meetings, not as frequently and regularly, but I do have people that I've connected with through AA and outside of AA who are sober, which I think is very important. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I've stayed sober is that connection and not staying isolated and not staying in the, well, maybe just one drink and, all that thinking that we can experience that tells us, oh, it's fine, just that one.
Yeah.
Like now I know just that one leads to just 10 more or
Yeah, one is
however
plenty and
more.
never enough. I've been in the rooms of AA since I was 18, and I I go sometimes. I don't go too often because of the huge stigma they have against marijuana. So I just don't go that much. But I think that I take what I can and then I leave what I can't. There's gonna be the 70-year-old men that are gonna sit there and go, "You're not sober," and I can't change their mind. So I'm not gonna even try. But
Oh, sure.
yeah,
Yeah. And I don't relate to it in the way that you are with the marijuana, but with other things that I have shared in the rooms, I've gotten some like judgments and sort of like, we don't talk about that here. A few times I wanted to talk about things I just shared now about the domestic violence because it's part of my story. I can't remove it from the story. That's just it is what it is. And at some of the meetings, I got a lot of support, mostly women's meetings. But at some of the mixed meetings, they're like, you don't. This isn't related to drinking, and I'm like, but how is it not related to drinking? I
yeah,
don't, you know. So I see where that's something where I see where you're coming from, where you're getting a lot of opinions that it's like, it doesn't actually really helping me with my recovery. So yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I feel that I really do, and that's why I'm so glad for the online communities that we have.
Absolutely. Yes. I 100% agree. And that's what drives me and motivates me to keep an online presence, because I like the whole atmosphere of make your own way through sobriety. Like, yes, support, as I mentioned earlier, for me has been a game changer. Having friends, my boyfriend, and various other people, family members in recovery, and being able to call them or text them or whatever and just share has really, I think, been one of the biggest pillars to my recovery. And so I think AA does a great job of bringing people together.
Yeah.
And that's what I think for me resonates the most. But as far as some of the literature and the way things are done, I'm like, as you said, take what you need and leave the rest. That's exactly where I am as well.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you came on to share your story, and I think we probably have a lot of time, some time left. So I have this little jar that I use, and I ask people questions, if you'd like.
Yeah, that sounds great. Love that.
Um, so you told me a little bit about how you were as a child with school, and you were very diligent about your schoolwork. But can you tell me about like anything else you had growing up as a child? Anything that could relate to maybe how you might have turned into an alcoholic?
You mean like as far as experiences
Yeah.
or like experiences?
Mhm.
Well, I think part of, like I touched on earlier, my mom was an alcoholic, and I think I subscribe to the belief that part of it is genetics for some people. I think some people are really wired within their brains and their bodies to have more of a predisposition to it. I know there's different thoughts around that, but I believe that because
I
not just my mom, but several other family members, some who are alive currently and some who have passed away, have also had those tendencies with alcohol and other substances, whether it's gambling, overspending, or alcohol or other drugs. It's like for, I don't know, decades and ages, like that's something that on both sides of the family, there is a history of that.
yeah.
So I think for me, I think that was definitely always in the mix, like hearing these stories from my family. And then I think just having that DNA, I guess, or that physiological sort of predisposition.
Yeah,
I think
I
that for me,
believe that too.
sure.
Like parents were addicts. My mom and dad both shot meth all the time. And not like when I was growing up, I can't remember it with my dad doing it. But then like later on in life, my mom went back to it a little bit, like here and there or whatever. So I can totally relate. And I have five siblings, or I'm one of five, and
Oh,
two of us turned into addicts and alcoholics. The other three are super successful at what they do, and they have no like alcoholic or addiction with a chemical, but they have other things. Like they have their own problems. Like I'm not gonna put this up because it's about my family, but so the one overeats like crazy, and then the other one is like a crazy perfectionist, and then the other one pours everything into music. So like they all have their thing that like happened because of the trauma that we had growing up. So I
right.
really believe that like even if you genetically are predisposed to being an addict, sometimes it doesn't come out it as drugs. It could come out as an addict with like work, or an addict with, you know, being abusive, with like violence.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I totally believe in that notion as well.
Yeah. Sorry to hear all of that about your parents and your family. But
It
yeah,
makes,
I completely agree with what you're saying, how different people are affected differently, but there's addictive tendencies,
yeah,
multiple family members. And that's exactly what I was saying. And you can share that if you want. I didn't pinpoint anybody other than my mom, who has since passed away. but also she was always pretty open about being an alcoholic, I think. Um, but yeah, so I'm fine with you if you want to keep what I said in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how my sister's gonna feel about what I said about her, but I, I don't tend to
Well, okay.
too much.
Yeah, I'm saying like if you want to take yours out and leave mine in, I'm saying I'm okay with that.
Okay. So, how do you stay? I like to ask every guest this because I have a huge problem with it. How do you stay?
Sure. How do I what?
How do you stay grateful?
Oh, how do I stay grateful? That's a good one. I don't even like I need to think about that because I feel like I kind of just do it, but I don't really know how.
So,
I don't make gratitude lists. I don't make gratitude lists. I guess I'm just in a habit of thanking people. Like I know a lot of people have pointed out to me that I, at least towards people that I'm in a relationship with, whether it's platonic or whatever else, that I do always express thanks for whatever. Oh, thanks so much for your help with this. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And I don't even know that I'm doing it most of the time. Like my boyfriend's always like, you always say thank you, and I love it. I'm like, I do. So
so this becomes like it's probably some type of freedom that you found with like your sobriety, and like I see that like some people recognize it, like they see themselves gradually becoming this like grateful and kind person, because in my addiction and in my alcoholism I was a horrible person, like mean, like just ungrateful, and I feel those tendencies coming back out like when I'm sober. So I'm like, how can I stay grateful? And I ask everyone because I want to know what they do so I can try it for myself.
okay, wait, I think I have something. So I think for me, I know what I'm more aware of when I feel, I'm going to use the word unaligned. Like when I start to see that I'm getting cranky or grumpy or really stressed or overwhelmed, I think that's the point where I'm getting better because I'm not always great at it, but I recognize, okay, I feel fill in the blank. I feel cranky, stressed, overwhelmed, I said stress already, but I'm feeling out of sorts with X, Y, and Z. And then I think once I talk about it and share about it, it kind of like takes out the power of it, and then I feel like more like me, and then I think that like getting rid of all the negative stuff that's swirling around brings me back to my center and alignment, and then I'm able to kind of ground myself and then be like, oh wow, like look at all, like the sun is shining, and oh cool, like my I bought my favorite coffee today. So essentially I guess it's more about managing the negative thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and kind of dealing with them. And then once they're dealt with, I think it's essentially like the weather, it's like when the storm clouds roll in and then it's raining and it's pouring. It's like I think in the past when I was in my disease, I think it's like, oh, it's raining, like let's just pour some alcohol on it. And now it's like, okay, well, if it's raining, now I need an umbrella and I need some rain boots and I need all these different things, like essentially like developing tools to handle the storms and to weather them. And I think once the storm has passed, like emotionally speaking, and the sun comes out, it's like I'm able to see the things that I think I'm already grateful for on a regular basis. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it totally does, and I can tell like you've been in the rooms a lot of AA or the 12 step program, because it just spews out of you, and that's what I love like getting from people in recovery. I have a hard time going into the rooms because of the reason I said earlier. So I love that I can feel that energy off you. It's good.
Oh, good. Okay. Because sometimes I'm like, I have all these philosophical ideas, and I'm like, are they translating?
They are. They really are. I might look like dirt, but like I got it. I got it all. Um
Yeah.
yeah,
So essentially, I guess my approach is handle the negativity as it's happening rather than trying to avoid it or escape it, dealing with the problems as they come up. And then once they're dealt with, I feel like I have the clarity to count my blessings, essentially.
Yeah. I feel that. I like that. I like that. That's how you can come to just always be grateful. I hope that one day I can just like naturally give off that grateful vibe that you give off. Like,
Well, I don't get an ungrateful vibe. I got grateful vibes from you
oh,
through and through. We connected. So I don't know if that helps, but that's something also, like I was saying with my boyfriend, how he'll point out my gratitude and I'm like, oh, I'm not aware of it. I think that's something that as people and as addicts, we can be more hard on ourselves.
yeah,
Where, you might be sitting here thinking, oh, I don't feel like I'm grateful today. And I'm here like, wow, she was so grateful at the same time. You know what I mean? Where that's where I think we need other people to kind of point out
the good.
some of the things that we are doing well when we don't feel like we're doing them well,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
We are like I definitely am the hardest on myself, and I know that a lot of other addicts and alcoholics are as well. It's so hard. We got to stop beating ourselves up because that's why we go back out. Like
Yes.
right now I have almost 5 years. January 21st will be 5 years from my substance of choice. But I'm very grateful for those 5 years that I have from crack and heroin. But I only have a month from alcohol, and I use
Oh.
marijuana like it's like a Suboxone almost. Like I
Mm.
use it as like a maintenance. So I don't consider myself 100% sober. I really don't. Because I don't feel like marijuana is a long term like cure to addiction or alcoholism. I think that it's harm reduction. So
Mm.
I really
The
don't
lesser of
think that.
the evils.
Well, I'm sorry.
The lesser of the evils.
Yeah, like it's. I guess I'm in I would be substituting one for another, but like thank God this one can't kill me or destroy my liver. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And I do know at least one or two people who go to AA who, with a doctor's prescription, take marijuana on a regular basis
Yeah.
to manage chronic pain.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, it's a thing where marijuana is becoming prescribed to manage symptoms of physical illness.
So
And I'm not opposed to that. My boyfriend and I were just talking about that the other day, like cancer patients, like my mom got cancer in 2016 and passed away very quickly. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer in August and passed away by November. And towards the end of, a few weeks before she passed away, we got marijuana for her because we don't want to see her in pain. I don't think she ended up using it, but like he and my boyfriend and I were talking about the other night, like, what if there's a person like in that sort of situation? What are you going to say? Like, no, you have to suffer.
yeah.
I don't believe in that,
Yeah.
you know?
I have a chronic blood disorder. And it does shorten your lifespan. I'm not going to get into it. Um,
Sorry.
this is about you, and I want to cry and all that. So
Right.
yeah, so like I have medical marijuana, for that reason, but I don't use it for only that reason. I use it for also my mental health because this thing up here is sticky sometimes, so I really have to like manage it in some way, or else I might end up sticking a needle in my arm again. And that's why I can't let myself get to that point. But I'm gonna ask one more question, and then I'm gonna wrap it up because I have to record. I'm not have to, but I get to record my story on somebody else's podcast, and so um, this kind of ties along. I think it kind of ties along with the gratefulness question. It's how do you become okay with setbacks?
Oh, yeah, this is a great question. I have on my refrigerator that the what is it? The comeback is greater than the setback. I don't know where I got that from. But I think the more recovery time that I get, the more I lean into that statement and that way of thinking of the comeback is greater than the setback. Because uh, I am I a recovering perfectionist? Yeah, I would say that I am a recovering perfectionist. For my whole life, if things, even as a child, if things weren't perfect in whatever capacity I needed them to be, this is all made up in my mind,
Yeah.
I would lose it. I would lose my cool. And that's something that in recovery, I think has been one of the biggest challenges. Like, if things don't go exactly the way that I'm hoping to, how do I cope? And I think part of it is meditation. Just like literally observing my thoughts. Okay, I'm upset about this. Like, I imagine my thoughts as clouds. And it's like, okay, I see this cloud thought moving on by. I'm upset. This didn't go my way. And I think allowing myself to have the feeling of like, okay, like feel it, right? Like I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel disappointed that this didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And then I think feeling it helps to release some of it. I think talking to people, I'm in therapy again. I've been in and out of therapy for like, I don't know, 23 years, 24 years now. I think going to therapy helps, talking to sober people helps. And then, as you just mentioned, really working at not beating myself up. Like, okay, a lot of things are out of my control. I can't control everything. And even the things I can control, like, I'm going to make mistakes. Like, it's part of the price of being human,
Yeah.
you know? But I think I've gotten a lot better at that over the past few years because I love to sometimes perseverate on, well, if I only did this one thing differently, then I wouldn't have made that mistake and had that setback, as you put it now. But essentially, I've learned that doesn't actually get me anywhere, right? Like that thinking, it's not really useful. And so I think now I'm getting quicker at remembering that. Like I'll have that thought of, oh, I wish I would have done this and this differently. And now I think I spend less time in the shoulda, woulda, coulda. So I'm not completely not, beating myself up, but I think the time spent in the agonizing over the mistakes
Yeah.
is lessened. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. Like, and I think I can feel myself like doing that because
Good.
and I think my significant or my child's father can like see that too because he was like the target, and now he's like, wow, she's like really thinking before she freaks out about something, and I can see myself getting less because like I used to get stuck in stuff for days. Like I would cry about something for days. I would scream about something for days, and now I like it might take me like an hour or it might take me even like 10 minutes from where it took me before, and like that
Great.
and I say days, but like it could have been months. Like I know in my active addiction to like fentanyl, I didn't leave my house for like 6 months. I was in my bed. If you seen me, it's because you came in my room to see me. Like yeah, it was bad. I don't know if you're a mother, but I was in my active heroin addiction as a mother, so it was a lot.
No, I'm not a mother, but I did want to say earlier, congratulations on the amount of time. You said it's going to be 5 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I can't believe I even did it, and I definitely owe a lot of it to AA, NA, and oddly enough marijuana. So yeah, but thank you, so much for coming on my podcast. Um, I don't know if it'll get any views. I don't know if it will help you get any views. I'm just trying to, like, if this video reaches one, because I'm gonna post clips. I'm gonna post clips, and if they can reach one person, then like that's what matters. And if
I
you,
100% agree with you. Yes.
yeah,
I'm not in it for the fame or
yeah,
like, if I help one person, my boyfriend said the same thing before this because I was like, I was so nervous and I was like, I just needed to like, I don't know,
if
get centered.
you do
And
it,
he's like, hey, you know what? If it helps one person, great. And if nothing else, like have fun. And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
let's go with that.
And if you want to come on again and we can talk about just the domestic, like it could be a segment that I dedicate to like domestic violence, and I could talk about like the first half. So I'm gonna edit this part out obviously, but
Yeah.
like I could talk about my story with domestic violence in the first half, and then you could share yours, and then we could talk about it together. Um, that if you want to do that one day,
Yeah,
yeah, because I know
definitely.
I didn't get into mine, and you didn't get really too much into yours either. Um, so if you want to, I can send you another link, and if you want to schedule it for even if it's after the holidays and into the new year, whenever.
Yes. I was going to say exactly. Yes. I would definitely love to talk again. But I like you just after the holidays because
Yeah, yeah. I just so much.
one day
Holiday.
this is the one day that I'm like, okay, I have a few minutes of downtime where I could actually sit down and do a podcast because the next few weeks it's just like jam packed
Yeah.
up and I think like New Year's or whatever. I work in a school and we have all these report deadlines because we get a week off, which is great, but also I'm an occupational therapist and I have like so many kids in my caseload and like all these reports due and
Well,
I'm like, okay,
so
I picked today. I'm like, this is the one little bit of time for the next month that I have.
you don't know how much it means to me that you came on my podcast. You are my this is my 10th podcast, and it's the 10th episode, and I'm really excited that you're part of the beginning of it, and thank you so much for taking like your very valuable time, and being on.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Thank you. No, I'm so honored that you had me. I was just saying that, like, I'm definitely interested, but after the holidays, I feel like this time of year is like, oh, just so.
I'm genuine. I'm like a little bit autistic, so like everything I say, like I really truly mean it, like to the core. And I also am into acting. Like I was in Happy Gilmore too a little bit, so like I just am really dramatic with the way that I say things.
No, it's okay. I told my sister one time, I'm like, I think I might be on the spectrum. I've shared that with people in my life too. And I actually my students that I work with, they're all on the spectrum.
Yeah.
So I've been diagnosed, but I definitely see similarities with the kids where I'm like, I do the same thing too. So
yeah. But thank you again, and I'll send you some clips and stuff like that. I gotta I hate to run so quickly, but I gotta record.
Hey, yeah.
Like,
all right. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and it was lovely to interact, meet, connect, talk. Have a great day. Thank you.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Bye.